Drew Barrymore, born on 22nd of February 1975, is an acting legend and more recently, a charming and compassionate TV host. You can spot her on The Drew Barrymore Show, where she interviews a wide range of guests, from actors and cultural icons to experts in their fields. Just as easily, you'll recognize her from countless beloved films, including the timeless E.T. and classics such as The Wedding Singer and Scream. Whether on or off screen, Drew radiates playfulness, sweetness, and irresistible charm. But how does she pull that off? What is it about her look, her vibe, her personality, and her presence that makes her so radiant and charming? What is so unique about her beauty? I'm Liv, a personal stylist, and in this video, we're going to break it all down. Her physical features, her style, her impact, and her overall essence to uncover all the qualities that make Drew so uniquely beautiful. Body analysis and scale. First off, it's important to understand Drew's body shape, so we can really see why certain outfits look absolutely stunning on her. If you take a look at this picture of Drew, you'll notice her proportions are all softly rounded, and there isn't a prominent waist. That's a classic apple shape, and it's consistent in all of her full-body photographs. Women who are apple-shaped look amazing when they wear loose and unconstructed clothes that skim over their gorgeous curves. It's a lovely body shape, and it's totally a part of what gives Drew her soft, feminine looks. When it comes to her height and size, she is average, reported to be around 5'4", which puts her in the medium scale category. When women have a medium scale, patterns and accessories that are too large completely overwhelm them, while ones that are too small will just get lost on their medium frame. On top of that, as mentioned earlier, her body lines are totally curved. What that means is that softer fabrics are a much better match for her than anything overly stiff, because it would not be in harmony with her lines. So, certainly to me, her rounded lines and consequential choice of softer fabrics help contribute to her cute essence. Face analysis. Drew has elements of a round and oval face shape. However, in my opinion, she is predominantly heart-shaped. You could spot this face shape by a wider forehead with a widow's peak and a gently pointed chin. Women with this face shape need to create balance by creating extra width around the chin area. Earring choices can also help harmonize the face and overall body lines. And in this case, some great choices for Drew would be wider styles. Think wider hoops, chandelier, and teardrops that really work with her natural lines. In terms of her standout features, of course, she has many. But I'll talk about a couple that I'm especially in awe of. First would be her eyebrows, that are delicately rounded and give her a retro, princess-like appearance. Secondly, the apples of her cheeks are youthful, rosy, and radiant, which is particularly endearing, especially when she smiles, another standout feature. Colour season. Drew Barrymore is widely believed to be an autumn in the seasonal colour analysis community, and while I can definitely see why people type her that way, I have to admit, based on my own professional colour training, I see it a little differently. Autumn women usually look amazing in colours that are warm, soft and dark. Think earthy shades, golden tones and rich greens. The softness of it really does suit Drew. However, when I look at her overall colouring, I feel she leans more cool-toned, which instead puts her in the summer category. It's important to note that summer is the only other soft season, so it makes sense why sometimes they get mixed up. Summer women shine in shades that are soft, light, and cool-toned, such as powder blue, soft white, lavender, or gentle pinks. On Drew, I find these colours make her skin look fresh and allow her eyes to pop. On the other hand, when she wears the warmer and darker autumn shades, I find they bring out more yellowness in her skin, even though the muted quality still works nicely on her. It's actually quite common for deep summers, who look best in the darker shades of the summer palette, to be mistaken for autumns. And personally, I think Drew falls into the deep summer category. Of course, even though this is my professional opinion, I always encourage you to form your own. But if you'd like to learn more about how seasonal colour analysis works, and even discover what palette might be your own, I've linked a video on my channel that walks you through the process in more detail. her best outfits. When creating outfits for ourselves, it's important to create harmony with our body lines and shapes. Ideally, we want to create the circle effect. The circle effect happens when we want to look into a person's eyes instead of other areas of the body or outfit. This way, our natural beauty shines and is not overpowered by the fashion, accessories, or makeup we wear. Some of Drew's best outfits demonstrate this philosophy beautifully. Disclaimer: none of these completely fit with her seasonal colour analysis type, so our eyes may be drawn to the colours she is wearing. However, it demonstrates the ideas that dressing for your body shape is absolutely transformational. First of all, I'd like to start with this sweet, retro-inspired look that Drew Barrymore wears with such ease. The dress is a dream on her apple-shaped figure. The fabric gently skims her curves, creating a really flattering silhouette. The neckline is spot on too, open and easy, which works beautifully on women with a fuller bust, as apple shapes tend to have. And I love how the pattern mirrors her rounded yet defined features, scaled just right for her medium frame. The hemline, finishing just above the knee, is another clever choice, showing off her legs. Her hair deserves a mention as well. Those curls are perfection, not too full, not too tight, just the right balance to echo her soft, rounded features. The shoulder length frames her face nicely too, broadening the jawline just enough to bring harmony to her narrower chin. If I were to tweak anything, it would be the necklace and hair colour. The necklace feels a touch too delicate. With its small scale, it almost disappears rather than completing the look. Something a little chunkier would have given her the right scale. And as for the hair, the tone leans slightly too warm. A cooler brunette, closer to her deep summer colouring, would really bring out her natural depth. But overall, this outfit is so classically romantic, and Drew looks stunning in it. Next up is this casual yet polished red carpet moment, where Drew blends comfort with style in the best way. She's in a single-breasted coat in a deep shade, which creates a slimming effect, while still letting her curves breathe. Underneath, she's layered an open neckline top. Always a win for apple shapes, as it gives some space and definition to the bust area. Her trousers are straight and easy, skimming over her frame without clinging, and the shoes, which are medium in scale and perfectly proportioned, finish the outfit neatly. Even her pedicure becomes a subtle polished detail here. What I especially love is how she's using the column of colour technique here. Coat, trousers and shoes all in a deep blue black, with just a hint of lightness from the top. It's a super flattering approach for apple shapes, elongating the line while keeping things chic and balanced. If I were styling her though, I'd lean towards softer shades for the palette. Think navy, medium blue or grey, along with a lighter, rosier lip. These would harmonise even more with her summer colouring. That said, her hair still looks gorgeous here. The tone blends well, at least in this lighting. All in all, this is such a great example of an effortlessly chic, apple-friendly outfit. And finally, I'd like to bring attention to this 2016 look, which Drew wears with so much grace. It has that casual, girl-next-door vibe that's completely in tune with her loving, free-spirited personality. The hair works wonders here. The darker brunette melting into the blonde creates visual balance below the jawline, softening her heart-shaped face beautifully. The gentle layering keeps things light and fluid too, by avoiding the heaviness of the blunt cut. For women with rounded features, softer lines like these are always more flattering than a blunt line. The top is clever too. With apple-shaped body types, it's often best to keep the eye drawn upward, and here the detail sits perfectly around the collarbone. The scale of the pattern is just right for her medium frame, and the loose, unstructured fit lets her curves move comfortably. While the puff sleeves aren't the most ideal proportion, they're soft enough not to throw things off. Jeans can be tricky for apple shapes, but this crop, lighter wash pair is a really nice choice. The summer colouring feels fresh, and those little slits at the knees are playful without being distracting. The nude flats may not be the most palette-perfect option, but they tie the look together casually and keep the vibe relaxed. Even if not every element is textbook, Drew absolutely shines here. The colour lifts her natural glow. The outfit feels authentic to her carefree essence, and the overall look is totally in sync with who she is. Her inner beauty. Although Drew Barrymore is clearly beautiful on the outside, she's also beautiful on the inside too. More than she is beautiful, however, she is inspirational. Drew's story starts in 1975, born to parents Jade and John Barrymore in California, USA. However, her family life was far from perfect. Her father, John, was absent, and her mother, Jade, wasn't able to give her daughter the stability she needed to grow and thrive. But this didn't stop Drew from finding meaningful connections of her own. Since Drew was 11 months old, she appeared in many commercials and TV spots. It wasn't until she was 7 years old that she landed her first gig in E.T. the Extraterrestrial in 1982. This movie is and was beloved by so many people, and pushed the little girl straight into childhood stardom. Although childhood stardom and the pressures it puts on children to be the breadwinners is something we now recognize as unhealthy, it in fact cured a loneliness inside of Drew. Steven Spielberg, the director of the film, became her godfather and looked after her as a father should, stepping into that role for her. Equally, she found joy in connecting with others through filmmaking and decided that this was something she'd like to do for the rest of her life. However, when Drew turned 13, she was institutionalized due to her behavior, which included alcohol and drug use. This brought her career to a sharp halt. Being in that institution was very hard on her and her reputation as an actress, although she also accredits it to her healing. In a Drew Barrymore show segment, where she revisits significant places from her childhood, she drives to the institution and breaks down in tears. She said, even though the time she spent there was lonely, traumatic, and really sad, it ultimately gave her the structure and discipline she needed to better her life in the long run. Even though she gained that structure, discipline, and healing from being in the institution, her career was still tarnished. It took tons of strength, determination, and drive to make herself successful once again. After many films where she was typecasted as misbehaved or a promiscuous girl, she finally landed a role in 1998 that would showcase her goodness. This was Ever After, a Cinderella story, where she played Cinderella, but with a twist. This Cinderella would rescue herself, while finding love along the way. And it's exactly how Drew felt about her own life. Drew wanted to rescue herself, and find some sort of happily ever after. After this film, Drew's reputation began to skyrocket. She went on to star in many hit movies with Adam Sandler, a beloved friend, and even produced her own movies under Flower Studios, which included titles such as Charlie's Angels, Never Been Kissed, and 50 First Dates. It's so inspirational how she managed to turn her life around, with the support of good friends along the way. She also broke the Barrymore family curse. Drew Barrymore came from an acting dynasty, who also happened to be heavy drinkers. Her grandparents died from alcohol-related deaths, and her mother and father used substances irresponsibly themselves. In fact, normalizing this behavior for Drew. As you can imagine, this was not a healthy blueprint for a child and young adult to grow up with. To see Drew Barrymore break free from her addictions after years of suffering is honestly so commendable. These days, Drew has a family of her own. She is mother to Olive and Frankie, her 2 daughters, who she believes she was karmically born to raise. From all accounts, their family home is a loving and healthy one, where Drew provides them with the parental structure, safety, and love that they need. And now she shares that wisdom and motherly love with those who appear as guests on the Drew Barrymore show. She truly healed herself and broke the generational cycle of dysfunction, ensuring future generations go forward with love. Her story is so extraordinary. Drew overcame all odds, found family and friends she met along the way, and uses her experiences to heal, connect, and laugh with others. She's not just a beautiful person. Drew is a person that people write stories about, a true heroine. All in all, Drew's legacy remains relevant today. People continue to be entertained by her movies and her interviews on the Drew Barrymore show. More so, Those who know her story are truly in awe of her strength and heroism. She is truly beautiful inside and out. What do you think is beautiful about Drew Barrymore? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you're interested, I offer style and colour analysis on my shop. If you'd like to get an idea of what makes you physically beautiful and how to dress to bring out your best self. No pressure, and either way, I appreciate you being here and marvelling on the beauty that is Drew Barrymore. Thanks for watching and see you again soon.